Hello everyone, welcome to WhatsApp TV again. Today we will continue the previous video about imperative form. This is the part 2 of the series about how to make commands, suggestions and requests using imperative form. Let's go! Então pessoal, no último vídeo a gente viu alguns exemplos de situações nas quais a gente usa o imperative form para fazer comandos, sugestões ou requerer coisas. As explicações foram todas em inglês e nesse segundo vídeo a gente vai continuar fazendo todas as explicações em inglês. Só essa pequena introdução aqui que vai ser em português. É só para retomar o assunto do vídeo passado. Então vamos lá. A gente vai aprofundar mais um pouco e vai ver um pouco inclusive da gramática do imperative form. From now on, I will speak in English, okay? Let's go. We have here the first slide. It starts saying imperative form is very common in English language. That is, people use imperative form all the time. This way, learning about imperative form is very useful for all of them who are learning English. The second part of this slide says, basically, it is used to give orders and commands to other people. However, imperative form can be also engaged in requests, advices, warnings, instructions, and suggestions. Well, the most important idea about the second part is don't think in commands as the unique form of usage of imperative form, because imperative form can be used in many types of English constructions. For example, advices, warnings, instructions, suggestions, and etc. And the third part of this slide says, generally when imperative form is used to make commands, there is no subject in the sentence. Therefore, the sentence just starts with a verb at imperative form, the basic form of the verb without to. Well, now this next slide shows 5 examples of imperative form being used to make orders. All these 5 examples are the same examples of the first video. Perceive, all examples start with a verb at imperative form. Although there is an implicit subject in imperative sentence, generally the subject is not mentioned. Of course, I could say you go home, but it's usual to say only go home. Therefore, as we don't pronounce the subject, this sentence starts with the imperative form of the verb. Then we have, first example, go home, go home. Second example, look at this, look at this. I could say, you look at this, but usually people say look at this without you. Next example, open your book on the page 83. Open your book on the page 83. Next example, we have a curiosity. We have here 2 sentences instead of only one. Stop is the first sentence and do not enter is the second sentence. Stop is an order. Do not enter is another order. 2 sentences, 2 orders. Stop is an affirmative order. Then we have the second sentence. And the second sentence, we have do and not before the verb. Here we have a negative order. The affirmative form of the imperative is composed by the basic form of the verb without to. On the other hand, the negative form of the imperative is made by the basic form of the verb, of course, without to, but before the verb we have to add do not. Then do not plus verb, that is the negative form of the imperative. I think the difference between affirmative form and negative form is very clear, okay? Let's go to the next example. Do your homework now. Do your homework now. Well, this is affirmative form of imperative. Let's suppose I want to pass this affirmative form to negative form of the imperative. How to pass the sentence to the negative form? Think about it. Have you think about it? Well, let's go. The answer is don't do your homework now. That is the negative form of imperative, okay? Notice that when I say do your homework, the main verb is do. And when I say don't do your homework, or if you prefer, do not do your homework, the main verb continue being do. But what's important here is don't make confusion between the auxiliary do and the main verb do. Many people make confusion with this. It's very important that you know to differentiate the verb do auxiliary and the verb do main verb, because both of them can appear at the same sentence, and many people that are learning English don't know which of them is the main verb and which of them is the auxiliary verb. Then study about it, okay? By now, I'm not going to speak about it. We will concentrate in imperative form. Let's go ahead. The next slide is an exercise about how to transform the positive form into the negative form of imperative. Then try to do it. I did the last one example. Do your homework. I transformed it into negative form. Do not do your homework. Try to do it with the previous 4 examples. Go home, look at this, open your book on the page 83, stop, do not enter. And at this example, stop, do not enter, try to transform the first sentence, stop, into negative form, but the second sentence, do not enter, try to transform it in positive form, okay? Have you done? Then let's go. The first example, go home. If I want to pass the sentence into the negative form of the imperative, I have to add do not or don't before the verb. It's very easy, okay? Then we have do not go home or don't go home. And people, pay attention to the intonation of your voice. If you are given an order, you have to use a proper intonation. Then, hey, go home, or hey, don't go home. It's intonation of authority. Then notice that. Don't give you an order as we say an affirmative sentence or a negative sentence. The intonation of an order is totally different. At this kind of situation, you have to use an authority intonation, okay? Then let's continue. The second example, the second sentence is look at this. When we pass it to the negative form, we have do not look at this or don't look at this. The third example, do not open your book on the page 83. The next one, stop, do not enter. And here we have a special example because, as I have said before, we have affirmative form and the negative form of the imperative in the same example. Then when I make the changes, we have do not stop, enter, do not stop, enter. Okay? And the last one example is do not do your homework now. Do not do your homework now.